secret realm is not high. Zhu Yu has been to similar places no less than times. He skillfully led his brothers and sisters inside. The places with stronger aura have more good things. As he gets closer to the destination, Yi Qiao can feel the aura rushing through the body. I'm afraid there are a lot of good things in this secret realm. They were not the only ones who came here. Yue Kingzong's group was also there, and Zhu Yu was worried about being caught first. In the most central part of the secret realm, a large piece of spiritual plants occupies everyone's sight. The emerald green leaves exude a refreshing fragrance. Just by smelling the scent, you can feel the spiritual platform clearing up for a while. It's a heart-clearing herb. Zhu Yu was lucky enough to squat down on a tree before, but it was later snatched by Yue Kingzong's gang. For this reason, he regretted it for a long time. He didn't expect that there was such a large area in this place. He was really excited. Yi Qiao calculated frantically in her heart how much she could buy if these herbs were refined into elixir. Hurry up, otherwise, it's time for someone to come. Zhu Yu learned the lesson of being cut off before, and said quickly, try to keep the roots, and then they can be transplanted to Danfeng. The four moved separately. Yi Qiao and Ming Xuan were picking in another field. She just knelt down and stretched out her hand to pick it. The next second the bitter talisman broke through the wind and rushed towards her. It was about to hit Yi Qiao. Ming Xuan quick-eyed and quick-handed. He threw out the Vajra talisman to block the attack. Quick-eyed and quick-handed. He threw out the Vajra talisman to block the attack. At the same time, after the talisman fell to the ground lightly, Ming Xuan's face turned cold. Explosive talisman. If it wasn't for his quick reflexes, he would definitely be blown away if he fell on the young junior sister who was only at the peak of Qi training. Song Hansheng put his hands behind his back and shook the talisman on his fingertips without apology. The reaction speed is good. Ming Xuan's expression fluctuated. He stared at him vigilantly, and stretched out his hand to protect Yi Qiao behind him. He understood that Yue Kingzong's group of personal heirs were not good things. The confrontation between the two successfully attracted the casual cultivators nearby. It is human nature to join in the fun. There were no people at first, but now the surrounding area is surrounded by one after another. Ming Xuan's face darkened. Seeing this, Song Hansheng unceremoniously set up the formation and did not allow casual practitioners to enter. In his opinion, since he has seen it, then this medicine field should belong to their Changmingzong, and no one else can take any of it away. This situation made Yi Qiao sigh. It's quite protective of food. The corner of Ming Xuan's mouth twitched, amused by her metaphor, isn't it? Look at him, he looks like a dog. Brothers and sisters, what you said to me made Song Hansheng's face so dark that ink dripped out. Yun Qiu frowned slightly. How can you talk like this? Why are these casual cultivators so rude? She was somewhat angry in her heart. Ming Xuan glanced at her leisurely, with a strange tone. After we talked to you, you rushed to join us. Yi Qiao was amused. The second senior brother really owed his mouth, but if it wasn't for one of his own people, it would be really cool to hear him gossip. Yun Qiu has been favored by thousands of people since she was a child. Even if she entered the fairy sect, she is smooth. She has never been humiliated like this. She was embarrassed, bit her lips tightly, and her eyes were red. Ming Xuan was stunned, crying. This is crying. He remembered that when he pressed his junior sister's head every day and called her a little potato landmine, Yi Qiao just kept silent and punched himself backhanded. Su Juo was so distressed that he quickly wiped her tears, and at the same time did not forget to warn the two, we are the direct disciples of the Yuqing clan. This is our little junior sister. He tried to entertain the four of them. Wow. Personal transmission. Mu Chongxi rushed over after hearing the movement, and heard Su Juo's words as soon as he arrived. Zhu Yu raised his eyes and caught a glimpse of a group of casual cultivators already watching outside the barrier. There are even discussions. Yue Kingzong. No wonder he dares to be so arrogant. It's too bad. It's not easy to mess with Yue Kingzong's personal heir. Don't they know that little junior sister of Yue Kingzong is their lifeblood? How dare they provoke Yun Qiu to cry? My little junior sister is such a delicate person. What does that casual cultivator think? Her mouth is so dirty. The personal disciples of every sect are almost well known. As long as the talent is high enough, most monks in the cultivation world will be curious about geniuses. Yun Qiu's aptitude is 1 in a million, so it's not surprising that casual cultivators know her. What made Zhu Yu a little dissatisfied was that Yun Qiu was a human being when he co-authored it. Their little junior sister was attacked by Song Hansheng just now. Why didn't they see anyone complaining about injustice? He suppressed his uneasiness, and said in a calm and soft voice, it turns out they're fellow Taoists of Yue Kingzong. As Zhu Yu said, the topic changed, but just now you beat up our little junior sister as soon as you came up. I'm afraid it's inappropriate. If it wasn't for the second senior brother's quick response, our little junior sister would have been injured. Listening to what he said, Song Hansheng's expression became more and more disdainful. A disciple of a small sect, what can he do even if he is injured? His voice became cold. It hurts as long as it hurts, not to mention the failure. Even if it succeeds, you still want me to make an apology. You little sect, how dare you? The casual cultivators around also nodded. It's almost over. Yu Qingzong didn't care about you, so why did he push his feet? Ah, Song Hansheng is so handsome. It's the first time I saw a personal biography in this small secret realm, and it's promising. When Yi Qiao heard it, it was done. Kun Yu Qingzong licks dogs. After Song Hansheng finished speaking, he sneered dismissively, then stepped into the medicine field and began to put spiritual plants in his mustard bag. Seeing this, Su Juo quickly added it, and began to carefully transplant the Kingshin grass. Mu Chongshi gritted his teeth angrily when he saw this scene, and was about to rush in to find them, but Yi Qiao grabbed him. Fourth senior brother, she said in a low voice. She didn't know what to think. Her big eyes were slightly curved into crescent shapes. She looked extremely innocent. Can you beat Song Hansheng? This question is equivalent to asking a man if he can do it. Mu Chongshi immediately said, I can hit 3 Song Hanshengs. Fu Xu's combat power is weak, and once he gets close, he will only be beaten. Mu Chongshi's words are not an exaggeration. Yi Qiao's eyes lit up. Then can you beat him out? Mu Chongshi was stunned. Is this not good? Chang Mingzong has always been known for being a kind person, fond of helping the poor, and being silly and sweet, and the elders in it are also hotter and more straightforward than the other. In Mu Chongshi's cognition, driving away others owns the idea of owning a disciple who violates the righteous way. Yi Qiao pushed him inside. What's wrong? Yi Qiao's voice was sincere. I was studying to talk to idiots calmly. And learning sword now is to let the idiot talk to me calmly. Haven't you heard a saying? One day with a sword in hand, it will kill all the dogs of truth in the world. Sword repair and learning swords are not for reasoning. Mu Chongshi rationally felt that what she said was wrong, but in his heart he was strangely persuaded and even felt, it makes sense. Their sword repairs are so strong, why should they talk about reasoning? It's up to you, fourth senior brother. Yi Qiao pushed him over. I know, fourth senior brother will definitely be able to do it, right? The little junior sister just looked at him with those eyes full of hope and trust, which made Mu Chongshi's last hesitation disappear. It is good. Mu Chongshi nodded, no longer hesitating, stretching out his hand to draw the sword. The moment the aura erupted, the white sword shadow flashed, and in an instant, whether it was a casual cultivator outside the enchantment, or the mysterious sword on Yi Qiao's waist, trembled at the same time. That is a natural sword bone. There are only a handful of kendo geniuses in the entire comprehension world. The moment the sword energy swayed, Yi Qiao admitted that she was handsome by this senior brother who was usually out of tune. 1 second before Mu Chongshi drew his sword, Song Hansheng sensed the danger and didn't even have time to take the Lingji in his hand, so he quickly took a step back. But it was still a step too late, and the Vajra talisman on his body was shattered. Everyone is dumbfounded. Su Juo couldn't believe it. Broken. So senior brother Song refined it for a year, and it was said that it could withstand the full blow of the golden core, but it shattered so lightly. It's just a sword chi, how could it be possible? Song Han gritted his teeth. If there is no such amulet, it is conceivable that if it falls on him, he will be injured even if he is not blown away. Where did this group of damn loose cultivators come from? Song Hansheng didn't dare to act rashly anymore, holding back his anger, staring at the few people, wishing to swallow these people who made him ashamed alive. Come on, second senior brother and third senior brother. Yi Qiao no longer took care of Yue Qingzong's people, and waved happily at the 2 senior brothers who were also unresponsive. Ming Xuan saw that the little junior sister and Mu Chongshi had quickly harvested the spiritual plants here. After all, he couldn't bear his conscience. Shouldn't we save some for others? Why should you keep it for them? Yi Qiao hated Iron for being weak. She finally understood why Chang Mingzong had been losing in the competition for so many years. Don't listen to the nonsense of Elder Zhao and Elder Duan. She frantically brainwashed them and did psychological work. What do you mean by walking your own way and letting others talk about it? She grinned. We have to walk the path of others, so that others have nowhere to go. Yu Qingzong is shameless, and their Chang Mingzong can do it too. As the saying goes, people need to be shameless, and the tree needs its bark. People are shameless and invincible in the world. As long as we are shameless enough, no one can defeat us. Hurry up, second senior brother and third senior brother, or they will really snatch her away. After Yi Qiao's brainwashing, Zhu Yu and Ming came to their senses like enlightenment. Yes. Why must they be patient? Is tolerance good for them? No, you'll just be bullied all the time. After being enlightened by Yi Qiao's painstaking efforts, the members of Mingzong felt go collectively, and just occupied a field of medicine in such a grandiose manner. Su Juo was so angry that he trembled all over. Why are you so shameless? We grabbed it with why do you call this shit? Was that he was very righteous after listening carefully. Zhu Yu found that all this kind of behavior was really quality. It was cool. In part, he found by various rules every time he went to practice, he lived like Og. Now sister to take advantage of the fire and rob every day. And I feel much comfortable. Chevron underscore left previous home index next chevron underscore right. Tap the screen to use advanced tools and earthly treasure. Whoever can get it. Song Hansheng thought he was safe. Never expected to meet this group of casual cultivators who didn't have long eyes. His face was gloomy, and he didn't know what he felt for a while, and the corner of Song Hansheng's mouth curled into a gloating smile. Coming. What is coming? Yi Qiao's mind didn't turn the corner. Not only Song Hansheng was aware of it, but several other people also looked into it. Mu Chongshi touched his chin. Monster. Monster. When Yi Qiao was cleaning the library, she would occasionally read some basic knowledge about the cultivation world. It was mentioned that monsters often appeared in sparsely populated areas, and monsters would gather in places with a lot of spiritual plants in the secret realm. In such a large medicine field, it is quite normal for there to be monsters. It seems that there are a lot of them. Zhu Yu's voice was gentle. There are hundreds of them by visual inspection. Dan Shu's spiritual sense is stronger than other monks, and he can easily feel that many monsters are constantly approaching the medicine field. Probably aware that the medicine field was occupied by human monks, the first monster that rushed over let out a threatening roar and rushed towards it. It is 2 meters tall and has a yellow skin. It looks somewhat similar to a modern locust. With thin wings flapping, it swoops in the direction of the cloud magpie in the next second. Ah! The girl screamed piercingly, subconsciously leaning toward the person with the highest strength while panicking. That's right, the person she aimed at was Mu Chongxi. In the secret realm, sword cultivators are the best at fighting, especially a sword cultivator at the Golden Core stage. Yun Qiu hurriedly hid behind Mu Chongxi, facing the slightly surprised gaze of the young man. She blushed and said nothing. The long sword in Mu Chongxi's hand was thrown into the air, and the sword energy pierced into the locust's head like a rainbow, and the sound of the sword sinking into the flesh sounded, killing the monster with one blow, and the monster fell straight to the ground. Yun Qiu exhaled lightly, and said softly, "Thank you." Mu Chongxi glanced at her. He didn't like Yue Kingzong's people very much, and said lazily, "No thanks, I didn't want to save you in the first place. You are as strong as an ox." The young man murmured, "You squeezed my junior sister to the back." Yun Qiu. Since she was a child, she received a lot of preferential treatment because of her beautiful looks. It was the first time she encountered a man who was not pretending to her. "I did not do it on purpose." Mu Chongxi was dazed for a few seconds, and when Yun Qiu was about to speak again, he pulled Yi Qiao back quickly. "So scary. Are female cultivators this now?" Crying at the slight disagreement, Mu Chongxi didn't understand, but was shocked. Yun Qiu's swirling tears froze. Is she a virus? Is it contagious or what? Junior sister. Su Juo walked in, filling tears froze. Is she a virus? Is it contagious or what? Junior sister. Su Juo walked in front of her worriedly, perhaps seeing the timidity of the girl when she faced the monster just now. He sighed softly, "Don't be afraid, you don't need to find those sword repairers to protect you. Senior brother song is very powerful, and I drew a few Vajra talismans. Those monsters can't get close to you at all." Listening to his rambling words, Yun Qiu not only did not feel comforted, but even thought that Su Juo was beating around the bush to mock him for being so timid that he was so scared when he saw a monster. She herself felt inferior because she came from the mortal world, and when she faced Yi Qiao, she felt the injustice of fate. The same came from the mortal world, but Yi Qiao was lucky enough to be picked up by the suzerain of the Yuqing sect, and it has been smooth sailing since she was a child. With Su Juo chattering in her ears, Yun Qiu bit her lips tightly, blushing. This time she was purely annoyed, her voice suddenly raised. "Shut up." The soft voice was suddenly a little harsh. Su Juo was stunned, and his expression was a little confused. Little junior sister. What happened to you?" Yun Qiu realized that something was wrong with her emotions. She was quickly pulled back rationally, and forced a smile. "No, nothing. Sorry, I was in a bad mood just now." Yi Qiao on the other side saw that the fourth senior brother was avoiding him. She was quite happy in her heart. At least she didn't fall in love with the heroine like in the novel, which is a good thing. Fourth senior brother. She touched his arm. "Do you feel any feelings when you see Yun Qiu crying?" It was mentioned more than once in the novel that the crying gestures of the male and female protagonists from all walks of life are so charming that people have the illusion of wanting to bully her. Mu Chongxi nodded with a serious expression. "I feel it." Yi Qiao's heart skipped a beat. "What do you feel?" He concluded with a deep expression. "She wants to blackmail me." Before I said anything, her tears were flowing like a faucet, and Mu Chongxi couldn't think of any reason other than extorting money. Yi Qiao. She seriously recalled the plot of the original novel, Mary Sue's heartthrob novel. The heroines are all soft, stupid and beauties, no need to do anything, someone is willing to go through fire and water for her. In the original book, Mu Chongxi will fight with the heroine and a group of suitors, vying for the wind and jealousy, and creating a surer field. However, not only did the two of them not spark any flames, Mu Chongxi even felt from the bottom of his heart that this woman was just trying to blackmail him. Yi Qiao patted his shoulder lightly, and said sincerely, "Senior brother, please continue to maintain this brain circuit of yours. As long as his brain turns abnormally enough, the surer field in the heroine's harem will not be able to catch up with him in the future." While the two were talking, hundreds of magical beasts had quietly surrounded them. They were low-level magical beasts with undeveloped spirits. They were quick to kill, but there were a lot of them. If the cultivation base of these monsters was higher, the scene in front of them would be a wave of monsters that would make countless monks terrified. Just as Mu Chongxi was about to take action to deal with these monsters, Zhu Yu stopped him the next second. "Do you still remember who the suzerain asked to go down the mountain to experience this time?" Qin Fanfan's original intention was to send away this group of disciples who liked to cause trouble, and at the same time, he also had the idea of letting Yi Qiao, a little girl, go out to see the world and exercise her courage. Mu Chongxi grasped and let go of the scabbard rather uneasy, but it's the first time for little junior sister to go down the mountain. According to his thinking, it should be enough for the little junior sister to kill 1 or 2 monsters to practice her courage, instead of letting her face hundreds of monsters alone. Zhu Yu didn't move, and smiled slightly. "Are you afraid?" These words were addressed to Yi Qiao. She said, "It's okay." Looking at the giant locusts that are gradually gathering around, "To be honest, although I am not afraid, this thing is quite disgusting." Considering that Yi Qiao only knows some basic sword styles so far, and fearing that she will encounter any danger, Mu Chongxi worriedly planned to help her consume the number of these monsters first. Doing so can not only exercise Yi Qiao's courage, but also won't cause too much danger. Junior sister, let me teach you a trick. Mu Chongxi blinked at her with a clear voice. Look. This is the first form of King Feng Ju. As the sound fell, the Chaoshi sword was unsheathed in his hand, and the snow-white sword shadow flashed in front of his eyes, and countless sword auras instantly turned into sharp blades at a speed that was difficult to catch with the naked eye. There was only the rustling of the wind, and in the next second, the heads of the ferocious monsters were all cut off, and they rolled down to the ground, raising a cloud of dust. Yi Qiao, who was standing behind, saw this scene. Her eyes widened slightly, trying to catch Mu Chongxi's hand gesture when she drew the sword, and secretly wrote down this move for later use when she pretended to be aggressive. What kind of sword technique is that? Su Juo beside him was stunned. Such a fast speed, such a strong sword intent. He wasn't the only one who was surprised. Song Hansheng also frowned. If I'm not mistaken, he stared at this scene. It's a bit like the sword intent of Changming Zong. Changming Sect, one of the 5 sects. Su Juo looked stunned. How is it possible? You misread, senior brother Song. How could that group of casual cultivators be members of the Changming Sect? Yun Qiu also felt a bit incredible. She couldn't tell what she was thinking, but subconsciously wanted to deny the possibility. Yes, didn't incredible. She couldn't tell what she was thinking, but subconsciously wanted to deny the possibility. Yes, didn't she say it before? They're a small sect. How could they be Changming Zong? What about your disciples? Song Hansheng's expression was slightly cold. I hope I'm wrong. But that's indeed Changming Zong's sword intent. The sword energy is like wind, like a knife, and its speed is too fast to catch. If it's just a group of casual cultivators, even if they can't beat them, they can fight for resources, but who would have thought that these bandits are the direct disciples of Changming Zong's Zhang'er 8 classics? Chevron underscore left previous home index next chevron underscore. At the same time, Yi Qiao had already had a face-to-face with the group of monsters. In her mind, she kept recalling the aura of the 4th senior brother when he swung the sword like a rainbow. Locust. After being caught, Yi Qiao's expression remained unchanged. Her wrist drove the hilt of the sword and cut it off immediately, and she rolled down. It roared and raised its hooves to crush her into a pulp. Yi Qiao kicked hard to get up from the ground, but was still swept by her tail and flew to the ground. She was about to pounce again, and the black sword in her hand slashed towards the direction it pounced. The soft sword wind fell on the monster's body like a sharp blade in an instant, sinking into the opponent's hard flesh. The monster opened its mouth and let out a wail, struggling more and more violently. Yi Qiao stabbed the tip of the sword hard into its soft abdomen, fearing that it would not die, so she punched it hard twice. Fighting tirelessly over and over again, and constantly adjusting wrong postures, she herself didn't realize that the speed of the sword in her hand gradually became faster and lighter. Like the wind, like a knife, it plunged into the group of monsters in an instant, and the huge yellow beast that stabbed into its abdomen fell to the ground bleeding profusely. Yi Qiao bent over tiredly and gasped for breath, her whole body dripping with joy, although she couldn't reach the power of Mu Chongxi's sword to kill dozens of monsters. But the sword style has already been fully learned by her. Zhu Yu was secretly surprised when he saw this scene, and he rarely boasted, I have adapted well, counting the time in the outer sect, the junior sister has joined the sect for less than half a year, and in a few months, I can master King Feng Ju for the first time. The 7 or 8 parts of the figure used in the first form, it seems that the talent of the little junior sister in the way of swordsmanship is not inferior to yours, little junior brother. What Zhu Yu couldn't figure out was that if he could really understand the first form of the King Feng Ju, why did the little junior sister linger in the middle of the outer sect? Mu Chongxi fell into deep thought of doubting life. After a long time, he said with difficulty, but the problem is, 3rd senior brother. Little junior sister hasn't had time to learn the first form of King Feng Ju. In the 2-month course, Elder Duan only taught Yi Qiao to step on the breeze to lay the foundation, and he didn't have time to teach the first sword art of King Feng Ju. The basic sword style of King Feng Ju was learned by Yi Qiao after watching it once, but she was afraid of being noticed, so she always swiped water during the test, so she didn't have a chance to practice it completely. Duan Yu hasn't had time to teach the other sword styles yet. Yi Qiao knows that this is a good opportunity to practice, no matter before time travel or now. The principle she has always followed is, learn if you can, and let it go if you can't. Fortunately, I have learned some things so far, and there is basically no difficulty. Song Hansheng's eyes darkened slightly. Ever since he knew that this group of people were descendants of Changming Zong, he had to pay attention to these people. Dabi and the others will be Yue Kingzong's opponents in the future. Especially the girl who was fighting with the monster. He was very accurate in seeing people, and the other party's talent was definitely not bad. As the saying goes, knowing yourself, knowing your enemy, and winning 100 battles, Song Hansheng has a thick skin. As if the friction that happened before didn't exist, he walked up to Mingxuan, beating around the bush to inquire about the news. Where did you find this disciple of Changming Zong? Is he a swordsman? Mingxuan was shocked by his thick skin. To be honest, Changming Zong and Yu Qingzong were not familiar with each other, especially when he sneaked up on his junior sister just now. Pulled. Zhu Yu smiled slightly. It's not as talented as your little junior sister. He said in a gentle voice, Yi Qiao is the little junior sister we picked up from the outer door. It's not comparable to the top-grade spiritual root, but at most, it has a better memory. Zhu Yu bowed his head and pondered seriously for a moment. it's about the level of a photographic memory. Song Hansheng didn't know about Yi Qiao, he just got a stomachache from Zhu Yu's words about Versailles. Also have a photographic memory, right? Right. Su Juo was dumbfounded. Yi Qiao. Is it a coincidence name? He vaguely sensed something was wrong. Speaking of which, the girl's voice is really similar to that of the second senior sister. After the second senior sister went down the mountain, there was no news of her completely, and with the second senior sister's talent, at most she was an inner sect in a small sect, so Su Juo never thought about Yi Qiao from the beginning to the end. But now, it seemed that he could not believe it anymore. How can there be so many coincidences, the same voice, the same name, and they are all sword cultivators? Yun Qiu's pupils trembled slightly, and he was caught off guard by the news. She has seen Yi Qiao's face before, she is indeed the second senior sister. Yun Qiu's voice was a little weak, she pursed her lips, as if unwilling to give up, she asked tentatively, then senior sister Yi Qiao is also a direct disciple of Changming Sect. Otherwise, do you think anyone can call us junior sister? Mingxuan said in surprise, and then looked at Yun Qiu's flashing eyes that seemed unwilling, and he laughed, no way, you don't really think it's a great identity to be passed on personally, do you? Yun Qiu really thinks so, or in other words, she can't accept a person who is inferior to her in every way, and once she becomes like herself, she becomes a direct disciple. She dodged her eyes a little, why is senior brother Mingxuan being so aggressive, I'm just asking. Mingxuan spread his hands with a half smile, if you think so, then I can't help it. These words caused an uproar. The outer gate of the enchantment had already squatted down and started to watch the show, and the casual cultivators who were eating melon seeds were stunned when they heard these words. The personal heir of the Changming sect. Are these great sects crazy? One by one, they're going to the small secret realm. I know the 4 personal biography of Mu Chongxi, but where did this little junior sister come from? It's a new one. It's so quiet and low-key. It's only now that I know that Chang Mingzong has also accepted disciples. But isn't Chang Mingzong always famous for being a kind old man? How could he do such a thing as occupying the medicine field? Some monks from the Changming sect raised their hands weakly, should I say it or not, although it is a bit immoral, but it looks very cool. Besides, Chang Mingzong's new little junior sister this year is pretty amazing. Yi Qiao's swordsmanship may still be a little green, but the flowing sword energy is pure and strong, not inferior to Mu Chongxi's sword just now. What's so great about this? A casual cultivator also said disdainfully, if it's junior sister Yunk, it will definitely work. It wasn't just casual cultivators outside who had this idea, Song Hansheng also thought the same way. These monsters are not high in cultivation, so they are very suitable for training. He was so irritated by Zhu Yu's Versailles meal, who doesn't have a talented junior sister. Song Hansheng held Yun Qiu back, his voice was cold, junior sister, hurry up and go together, this is a good opportunity to practice. He added, there will be no danger, those monsters are very low level. Senior brother Song, I won't go, I'm afraid. Yun Qiu grabbed Song Hansheng's sleeves tightly, she shook her head, her eyes turned red again, they're too disgusting. Song Hansheng was dying of anxiety, didn't he see that Chang Mingzong was already killing him like crazy? If you don't go out to show it at this time, the limelight will be completely robbed by Chang Mingzong. Seeing this, Su Juo hurriedly spoke well for her, senior brother Song, junior sister is still young. This 16-year-old is still young. Song Hansheng couldn't bear it anymore, is she a giant baby? During the dispute between the two, the monk outside who was speaking for Yue Qingzong silently shut up. Chevron underscore left previous Yun Qiu. Ellipsis. Yi Qiao had also reached the point of exhaustion, and the monsters were also wiped out in 7s and 8s. She sat slumped on the ground, gasping for breath the whole time and not wanting to move. So tired. Yi Qiao's previously restless aura was completely exhausted this time. She was tired and at the same time felt comfortable after a long time. She wiped off her sweat and felt that something warm was nourishing herself in her body. It was so warm that it made her feel drowsy and comfortable. The 3 senior brothers knew that she was exhausted, so they didn't bother her, but gathered together to discuss. You said just now that junior sister has never learned the first form of King Feng Ju, right? Mu Chongxi nodded quickly, yes, did she secretly learn from Elder Duan when I didn't know it? Otherwise, I can't explain how she did it. Mingxuan raised his brows slightly. Is there a possibility that the little junior sister was imitated by your sword just now? Mu Chongxi, ha. Didn't you notice that at the beginning, junior sister swung her sword very jerky, like a toddler beginner? After adjusting and practicing over and over again, I gradually learned how to hold the sword correctly and how to better use the sword style in the sword formula. This scene was like in the library pavilion. Mingxuan just showed her how to draw the fire talisman, and she was able to draw a scoop like a gourd, and draw it completely. But I studied for 2 months. Mu Chongxi's eyes widened slightly, and he stumbled a little when he spoke. He had learned the first style of King Fengjue for 2 whole months, and was praised by Elder Duan for his talent, but what about junior sister? Not even a day. Don't forget senior brother Zhu said it. She never forgets it with her photographic memory. After experiencing the experience of Zangshu Pavilion, Mingxuan's ability to accept is much better than him, and he even has the leisure to talk to him about science. You may not know, little junior sister, in 2 days, I can silently write more than a dozen talisman books. Silence is Cambridge tonight. Mu Chongxi said before that Yi Qiao should take a good look at it. She just wanted to be handsome, but she didn't expect that she would learn it just by showing him to death. When Mingxuan realized that he had stabbed his junior brother unconsciously again, he didn't care about the previous grievances between the two of them, and tried to comfort him. Although you may not be as good in memory, but in terms of comprehension. Halfway through his words, the other two also felt something. Chi turned his head and looked in Yi Qiao's direction in astonishment. Breakthrough. Mingxuan's expression was undisguisedly shocked, but you may not be able to match in terms of comprehension. With this mirror-breaking speed, does she have no bottleneck period at all? Hearing this, Mu Chongxi gritted his teeth. Thank you, you are really good at comforting people. The three of them waited quietly until Yi Qiao calmed down and stabilized her cultivation at the foundation building. Before the monster came, they put all the Qingshin grass into the mustard bag. No one expected that this experience would be fruitful. Such a big gain. After Yi Qiao built the foundation, she could feel that the sea of consciousness had expanded more than double, and before she had time to feel the benefits of the expanded sea of consciousness, a pink figure suddenly appeared in front of her. Yi Qiao just finished adjusting her breath and opened her eyes. When she suddenly faced Yun Qiu's big face, she wowed. Ghost. Yun Qiu's expression froze slightly, and the next second he tried to grab Yi Qiao's sleeve, but was bounced away. Zhu Yu stood behind Yi Qiao. He didn't speak, but after hearing Yi Qiao scream, he felt that there was something wrong with Yue Qingzong, the little junior sister. After Yun Qiu was bounced away, she bit her lip. She was not reconciled. She begged bitterly. Just give me one, okay? Second senior sister, you should know, right? I was born with a broken spiritual root. Now I still need a spiritual implant. Su Juo felt distressed when he saw the woman he loved so groveling. Yes, you have so many, second senior sister, so what can I do if you give me a plant? Yi Qiao didn't even have time to reply. Mingxuan's lips curled up, and he started spraying poison. Who is your second senior sister? This is our junior sister. Give it to you. Why? Because your little junior sister is arrogant. What can I do if I give you a plant? Then you are so ugly. Go to hell, don't get in my eyes here. Mingxuan raised his chin slightly, with a contemptuous expression on the corners of his lips, with the look of, you're so crooked, I want to be pure if I don't see it, and Su Juo fell down angrily. Congratulations to Zhu Ji, junior sister. Zhu Yu ignored the farce, and threw the Gu Ling pill to her. It's time for us to go back. At the same time, he secretly thought that it would be better to have less dealings with Yue Qingzong's abnormal personal descendants in the future. Especially that personal biography named Yun Qiu. Don't get complacent too early. Song Hansheng's brows were gloomy. Seeing that the four of them didn't give him face so much, he began to speak harshly. We will wait and see. None of the four looked back. Mingxuan, TSK. Mu Chongxi, Bar. Zhu Yu, Oh. Yi Qiao, look who cares about you. Song Hansheng's face gradually twisted. Su Juo looked at Yi Qiao's leaving back, feeling indescribable. She has a good relationship with senior brother Zhu Yu, right? Yun Qiu stood there and suddenly spoke softly. For some reason, seeing Zhu Yu and the others defending Yi Qiao made her feel very uncomfortable. It's as if something that should belong to me was snatched away by Yi Qiao. The eldest son of the Zhu family among the 8 great families, it is said that senior brother Zhu will refine some pills that can make people break through quickly. All the way to cultivate immortality is to be down to earth. Although taking drugs to build a foundation is fast, but the backlash is heavy. To put it bluntly, it is a show. Su Juo hesitated for a few seconds. You mean, second senior sister raised her cultivation base by using pills? The three of Yi Qiao grew up together, and the second senior sister was the most honest since childhood, but since Mo Yuan came back, she has changed. Su Juo couldn't tell what it was like, but complained to her vaguely, wasn't it just a mayfly? Going down the mountain in anger. That's right, Yun Qiu forced a smile. After all, second senior sister has been stuck on the 3rd level of Qi training for so many years. How could she build a foundation in just a few months? Yun Qiu was the one who was more shocked than Su Juo. How could that dull and non-existent second senior sister be the person in front of her? Not only did he build the foundation earlier than himself, but he also became a personal heir whose status was no lower than his own. This made her feel worse than killing Yun Qiu. Chevron underscore left previous home index next chevron underscore 24 senior brothers. Lo and behold. The way back to the Zongmen was not peaceful, because Yi Qiao had just established the foundation and was not very proficient in Yujian. She fell down a few times on the way and was covered in dust. She patted her clothes and stood up, continuing to try. Under Mu Chongxi's guidance over and over again, Yi Qiao barely managed to keep her balance, at least she wouldn't topple over. Junior sister, do you know those personal heirs of Yue Qingzong? After hesitating again and again, Zhu Yu still asked softly. At that time, Yun Qiu was talking to the second senior sister, and it didn't seem like he had misunderstood someone. Yes, Yi Qiao's expression was normal, but she felt that there was nothing she couldn't say. I'm an orphan. I was picked up by the suzerain of the Yuqing sect since I was a child, and I was an inner disciple there for several years. After a pause, she shrugged her shoulders and smiled. Later, my talent was so poor that dogs thought I was useless, and the herbs I picked so hard were taken away by my master and given to that little junior sister who was newly acquired by Yue Qingzong. I went down the mountain in a fit of anger. What Zhu Yu heard was somewhat unpleasant. The few of them have been the pride of heaven since they were young. Although their parents are strict, they're also very good to them on weekdays. How old is the junior sister? At the age of 15, it's nothing more than not being valued by Yue Kingzong, and the herbs he worked so hard to get were taken away. Yi Qiao said it lightly, but it's not hard to see the sadness inside. Zhu Yu secretly made up his mind that he would make more alchemy in the future and work hard to feed his junior sister. Yu Qingzong couldn't take care of him well, so they came to take care of them. Ming Xuan also comforted her a little uncomfortable. In the future, if they dare to bully you again, I will report my name. After hesitating for a few seconds, he changed his words again. Forget it, you can report the name of the senior brother, he is more powerful. Yes, yes, yes. Mu Chongxi was afraid that she would be sad because of this, so he rubbed his hands secretly. Yu Qingzong's inner dog is not a good one, it would be great to come to our Changmingzong to be a personal biography, and when the competition comes, I will definitely blind them dog eyes. The three senior brothers chatted all the way to comfort her wounded heart. Yi Qiao laughed out loud, her heart warmed. Ellipsis. After returning to the Changming sect, he briefly reported the experience to Qin Fanfan. When he learned that Yi Qiao had established the foundation, the sect master, who had almost fallen asleep, jumped up. Foundation established. He patted Yi Qiao's shoulder hard, and let out a gratified laugh. Ha 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 ha, I just said that you girl can do it. He had completely forgotten that the purpose of driving these personal disciples down the mountain was to keep the sect clean for a few days. Elder Zhao coughed lightly twice, and was shocked by the news. Yi Qiao. That girl who often does not do her job properly and likes to do some crooked ways. How many days did it take to break through the foundation? Elder Zhao looked at Zhu Yu, who was the most stable of the four. Zhu Yu stretched out a finger. Elder Zhao, 10 days. Zhu Yu, 1 day. He pondered for a moment. To be precise, it took less than a day for my junior sister to break through. This time, not only Elder Zhao was silenced, but also Qin Fanfan. Qin Fanfan controlled the twitching expression, building a foundation in 1 day. The two looked at each other, and at the same time realized the problem. Elder Zhao looked solemn. You guys go out first, I have something to talk to the suzerain. Yi Qiao nodded her head irresponsibly, just as she also wanted to go back to the yard to rest. After the few people left the hall completely, Qin Fanfan jumped up nervously, building a foundation 1 day, old Zhao. These little bastards didn't scare me, did they? Can their Changming sect still be a disciple of foundation establishment 1 day? Is this reasonable? Elder Zhao frowned. Zhu Yu, can't you rest assured? It's no good for that child to lie. I just can't figure it out. Is this girl really just a middle-grade spiritual root? Her absorption of spiritual energy is not slow, and sometimes even feels faster than her senior brothers. How is it possible? Qin Fanfan was the first to deny it flatly. Her senior brothers are all top-quality single-spirit roots. That's why I think she's weird. Elder Zhao put his hands behind his back, puzzled. Logically speaking, there shouldn't be any problems with the test stone, but Yi Qiao's talent is absolutely impossible to be so low. At least it's a top grade. Qin Fanfan waved his hand. That's all. When I go to the swordsmanship sect to participate in the big competition, let Yi Qiao go to the swordsmanship sect sword cave for a test. It is absolutely impossible for the test stone there to make mistakes again. In the few days after returning to Changmingzong, Zhu Xi was exhausted after going out to practice, and no one had time to be a monster, which made the elders of the inner sect feel very relieved. In fact, the main reason for the calm was that Yi Qiao had locked herself in her room for the past few days, and would go to Zhu Yu from time to ask him for some materials. She is researching something and wants to try to see if she can succeed. Yi Qiao struggled for more than 10 days by herself, flipping through a large number of classics in Zhangshush and finally collected what she wanted. On the flat ground of the back mountain, things are constantly being added to it. Little junior sister. At this moment, Mu Chongxi rushed in. The elder of Changfeng sect has come to our sect. Master told us to be quiet today and not cause trouble for him. Yi Qiao didn't even move her brows. She said in a daze, Cheng Fengong. Is that the monster sect you mentioned? Mu Chongxi nodded solemnly. That's right. What are their elders doing here? Yi Qiao didn't understand. Mu Chongxi sat down casually. Isn't there only half a year left? Chongxi sat down casually. Isn't there only half a year left before the grand competition? Shouldn't the sects come to check the strength of the direct disciples? Everyone wants to get a good ranking, know yourself and your enemy, and win every battle. Hey, Mu Chongxi moved his head closer, looked at the contents of Yi Qiao's pot, and put a question mark on the top of his head. What is this thing? Why does it taste so strange? Yi Qiao pushed him away. I'm making something. What's that? Yi Qiao's face was deep. It's called a bomb. Mu Chongxi was dumbfounded. I always feel that when the junior sister is tinkering with these weird things, he can only stand aside and act like a fool. Then when will you be able to do it well? He said, later, Master will bring the elders of Changfeng sect to visit our sect. It would be bad if something went wrong. And also, Mu Chongxi swallowed her saliva, looked at the contents of Yi Qiao's pot, and always felt that this thing, it didn't look like something a normal person would make. Is the bomb the latest magic weapon? Yi Qiao hummed indifferently, don't worry, this is just a little thing. It took her a long time to search through the various classics to find stones similar to gunpowder, and other materials that could be replaced. Combined with modern knowledge, she must be foolproof. Fourth senior brother, Yi Qiao smiled cutely and said in a clear voice, just watch. Seeing her smiling like this, Mu Chongxi felt a little hairy. I don't know why, every time he is with his junior sister, he has a bad feeling. Yi Qiao sat on the floor with her head down and tinkered for about half an hour, and finally she was done. She patted her dusty sleeves, stood up from the ground, and breathed a sigh of relief. Fourth senior brother, look at it. She yelled, thunderstorm. Then he threw the bomb in his hand not far away. Chevron understood. Chapter 21 Junior Sister's Mouth, Deceiving Ghost. Thunder fell on the flat ground, making a loud noise, and immediately set off billows of dust, and the power of the explosion was so powerful that a small hole appeared on the ground. Mu Chongxi took a step back in horror, exclaiming, what an awesome bomb. He found that this little junior sister had a lot of strange and weird things, such as this bomb, which was not weaker than Jinden's blow. Such a ferocious magic weapon. Let me try. After seeing the power, he picked up a bomb in a decent manner. Little junior sister, watch it. Mu Chongxi said excitedly, I will definitely throw it farther than you. Yi Qiao watched as he raised his arm, swung it around twice, and then threw it forward with all his strength. It was indeed quite far, 10 meters by visual estimation, with the bomb falling. There was a muffled sound of explosion, and Qin Fanfan's downed head-on lion's roar sounded not far away. Who dares to attack this old man? Yi Qiao and Mu Chongxi looked at each other. A thought arose at the same time. Play off. Run. The two had a tacit understanding in terms of escaping, and they slipped away without looking back. After all, neither of them wanted to be imprisoned again. Qin Fanfan is taking elder son of the Changfeng sect to visit the sect. After all, everyone knows the purpose of the other parties coming here. Isn't it just to test the strength of the opposing sect? It's been 100 years since the last big competition. Although Changmingzong has always been at the bottom every time, and it hasn't changed for 1,000 years, Changfengzong doesn't know where he got the news. After hearing that Changmingzong's personal strength this year is quite strong, that's right, Cheng Fangong decided to send someone over to investigate in person after careful consideration. Elder son and Qin Fanfan exchanged pleasantries a few times, talking hypocritically while walking along the way. I heard that this year's new disciples of the Gazong have good qualifications. Elder son smiled slightly. Qin Fanfan gave him a smirk, it's overrated. Our Changmingzong will focus on participating at most this year. Elder son hid his slightly mocking expression, feeling that he was worrying too much. No one has counted the strength of Changmingzong, but if they have someone who can fight this year, Qin Fanfan will not be so ambiguous. During the chatting time between the two, they gradually walked to the back mountain, which is the only way for sword repairers to practice their swords. They just took a step, and a strange thing fell under their feet in the next second. Just as Qin Fanfan was about to say something, white smoke rose from the things under his feet, and then exploded. It literally exploded. Qin Fanfan's cultivation base is high, so he didn't get hurt very much, but the power is not small, and he saw a small hole in the flat ground. His first reaction was that someone wanted to kill him, and he immediately roared angrily, who dares to attack this old man? There was no one answering in the surroundings, and the two culprits had already disappeared by this time. The elder Cheng Fangong was also frightened by this roar and gradually recovered his senses. His voice was a little trembling, and he pointed at the bomb on the ground. What magic weapon is this? Qin Fanfan was also very confused. But after seeing elder son's shocked expression, Qin Fanfan's original anger calmed down unexpectedly, and it was the first time he found some face in front of other sects. Don't think he doesn't know, because of the countdown all year round, these old men have laughed at themselves several times in private. Qin Fanfan coughed lightly, stroked his beard in an inscrutable manner, and said casually, Hey, this is just a little gadget picked up by those incompetent relatives of our sect. It's worthless. It is worthless. Little thing. What gadget is so powerful? The expression of the elder of Changfengzong gradually changed from the casual one at the beginning to seriousness and even a hint of awe. Elder son couldn't break the casserole and ask the end, so he had to reluctantly say a few words in agreement. Elder son was a little absent-minded throughout the day, and when he finally came out of Changmingzong, he rushed outside to take out the jade slips. Changmingzong is so terrifying this year. Elder son sent a message to his suzerain trembling. After Yi Qiao and Mu Chongxi left the back mountain together, they were still thinking about whether they could get the pistol out. Of course, it wasn't the modern type with bullets. Maybe they could try to put some other powerful pistols into the pistol's bullet clip. Things. As for what to put, Yi Qiao hasn't figured it out so far, but it doesn't prevent her from drawing a sketch of the pistol first. As a designer, she has strong hands-on ability. After drawing the design, Yi Qiao turned around and sent a sincere invitation to her downhill partner, Mu Chongxi. Shall we go down the mountain together? After all, Yi Qiao is not a weapon repairer, she doesn't know anything about weapon training, she can use her memory and books to fill bombs with materials, but pistols are such a high-tech production method that she still needs to find a professional weapon repairer. Mu Chongxi was stunned for a moment, then hesitated. We still have class tomorrow. Yi Qiao was quite calm, she showed her dimples, and said loudly, then get rid of it. Mu Chongxi's eyes lit up. Good idea. He didn't want to go to class for a long time. He was the only swordsman in Duan Yu's class before, and if he skipped class, he would be fined and locked up. It's different now that I have an extra junior sister to accompany me, I won't be the only one who will be punished. Let's go. The two of them have hot-tempered personalities, they are the type to leave as soon as they say they want to go, and after making a decision, they happily ran down the mountain together. There are all kinds of shops in Yunjung City, which are very complete, but because it is at the foot of Warong, the price is only one word can be summed up, that is, expensive. After arriving at the shop that sells magic tools, Yi Qiao couldn't wait to hand over her design draft. Can this be done? Not many people came in the shop, after all casual cultivators didn't have that much time to sell magical weapons for self-defense, and the bulky ones didn't care about the things in the shop, so only the boss was leisurely puffing clouds inside. Seeing what Yi Qiao handed over, the shop owner paused his hand holding the pipe, then sat up, carefully looked at the sketch she handed over, secretly surprised. What is this? Why is the shape so weird? Unlike swords and other weapons, he has been in the industry for so many years, which is unheard of. Yi Qiao said implicitly, it's called a pistol. Can this shape and structure be made roughly? It's better to store more things inside. The boss was quite interested in this, he nodded, sure, but the price. A total of high-grade spirit stones will be needed to make it. It's quite expensive. So Yi Qiao began to use her 3-inch tongue to bargain with him. The result was satisfactory. He finally won. A total of high-grade spirit stones will be needed to make it. It's quite expensive. So Yi Qiao began to use her 3-inch tongue to bargain with him. Although the process was long, the result was satisfactory. She finally won it at a price of 100 top-grade spirit stones. Mu Chongxi was stunned. Every time he went down the mountain, the boss always told him how much he gave. Could it be possible to bargain? Yi Qiao seemed to see what he was thinking in his heart. Of course it can be like this. Of course, if you don't lack spirit stones, you don't have to cut them. Mu Chongxi didn't need much, but when he thought that he could obviously give a little less, he felt inexplicably unhappy for a while. Let's go, Yi Qiao asked, do you have anything to buy? Finish your shopping before going back. Mu Chongxi grumbled, forget it. I won't buy anything today. Why? Mu Chongxi clutched her chest. My heart aches when I think of the extra spirit stones I gave away. Fine. Yi Qiao understood his reluctance. If she gave away so many spirit stones for nothing, her mood would only get worse. Then let's go back to the sect first. It just so happens that I have drawn a few talismans and need someone to test them out. Yi Qiao had no experience before, and after drawing the talisman, she still tried it on herself, until she knocked a hole in the wall of the inn. Yi Qiao became a lot more cautious. After learning from the painful experience, she decided not to hurt herself. After all, why do people have trouble with themselves? She is ready to harm others. Mu Chongxi scratched his head, and asked naively, then how good are your talismans? Not many. Yi Qiao looked at him pitifully, just a few. She emphasized the words, a few sheets and nothing more. So with the idea of caring for his junior sister, Mu Chongxi believed her nonsense. Then the two stayed in the back mountain for 3 full days, neither of them went to class, they took turns experimenting with the various talismans drawn by Yi Qiao. Mu Chongxi discovered that the mouth of the junior sister is a deceiving ghost. Fuck some pictures. Come on, fourth brother, this is the last one. Yi Qiao enthusiastically took out the last one. Don't worry, I won't make you feel bad this time, it's called Ha Talisman. At most, it will make you smile. You can see that you have become a bitter melon. Mu Chongxi stayed with her for 3 whole nights. His face was pale, with a pitiful look of being devastated, and he let out a faint breath. Okay. To be honest, the little junior sister's talismans are quite interesting. It would be better if you don't experiment with yourself. After obtaining the consent, Yi Qiao couldn't wait to throw the Ha talisman on Mu Chongxi. Sometimes the talisman doesn't have to be powerful, and being able to make people laugh so much that it affects the performance is also an alternative way of interference. Mu Chongxi didn't react at first, and he still looked like he was unloved, but soon, the boy raised his head and let out bursts of villainous laughter. Ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha. Mu Chongxi laughed for a long time, startling the sword repair who passed by to practice swords, and almost thought that senior brother Mu had lost his temper. Finally, she paused for a moment, just when Yi Qiao thought it was over. Mu Chongxi's ups and downs of laughter sounded again soon. Ha ha ha. Yi Qiao. Chevron underscore left previous home index. 2 Have you all learned from your junior sister? If she laughed any longer, she almost thought that Ganara, the god of darkness, was about to appear, so Yi Qiao quickly tore off the talisman that was stuck to Mu Chongxi's body. It seems to work well. Mu Chongxi laughed for a long time and his face became stiff. After he stopped, he shook his head and slumped to the ground, and made a faint voice. It's not just that sound just now. I almost thought I was insane. Whoever heard that laughter didn't think it was scary. By the way, are all of you talisman cultivators so good at playing? Mu the little junior sister to test all kinds of talismans these days, and gradually forgot the fact that Yi Qiao is a sword cultivator. Which sword cultivator can draw such 6 talismans? Yi Qiao didn't even lift her eyelids. Don't slander me, I'm a serious swordsman. Painting talismans is just an amateur. You must know that the original owner also chose to be a sword cultivator in a sect like Yuqing Sect, which is full of talisman cultivators. Yi Qiao prefers to be an assassin than a mage. Thinking of the power of her talismans, Mu Chongxi laughed twice. Amateur. Who has such a good amateur effect? Yi Qiao took advantage of the time when she was absent from class to refine some elixirs and prepared to take them down the mountain to resell. I don't know if it's because she doesn't have a serious alchemy stove, but the pills made in a cauldron are all weird. Some turned into a big lump, some were potholed, all of them were strangely shaped and messy. Because of her ugly appearance, she set the price very cheaply. Even so, no one would ask for a medicine that looks weird. Everyone is afraid of making mistakes. Yi Qiao sighed in her heart. How can she judge things by their appearance? Woolen cloth. Ellipsis. You haven't finished drawing this talisman yet. Mu Chongxi rested his chin on one hand, and leaned over to watch Yi Qiao draw on the talisman paper. Yi Qiao looked at the discarded talisman in her hand and sighed. Yeah, another one was scrapped. Mu Chongxi witnessed her failure over and over again, thought for a moment, and gave a suggestion. Why don't you ask Mingxuan? I'll try again. If you continue to fail, ask the second senior brother. Although Mingxuan will probably suspect that his brain is out of order, he should not learn to draw talismans properly after practicing swordsmanship. Are you a talisman learned by Yu Qingzong? Yi Qiao turned her head to look at him, thought for a while, yeah. At the beginning, she did learn it by relying on the original owner's memory of the pictures of the talisman cultivators of the Yu Qing sect drawing talismans. Yu Qingzong is called the place where orthodox talisman cultivators belong by people in the cultivation world. Mu Chongxi said slowly, there is a chain of contempt in the cultivation world. They look down on talisman cultivators from other sects. People know that you have learned the talismans, and I can imagine how ugly their faces will be. It was the first time Yi Qiao heard such a statement. Thinking about it carefully, the discriminatory comparisons in Dazong are indeed no less than in modern workplaces. In the memory of the original owner, the Yu Qing sect was like this. The personal sect looked down on the inner sect looked down on the outer sect, and the outer sect looked down on the handyman. The handyman looked down on the people of the small sect. It's pretty outrageous. Mu Chongxi's eyes shifted to the pen in Yi Qiao's hand, and then he sighed heavily. Also, little junior sister, I heard from the second senior brother that if you want to improve the quality of your symbols, you'd better use a better one. Wolf pen. Yi Qiao was startled. Oh. But other pens are quite expensive. Let's make do with it. She was very casual. After all, you can't compare yourself too much. Mu Chongxi looked at Yi Qiao's forked brush, and the corner of his mouth twitched, realizing that this little junior sister of hers was really not an ordinary picker. It is a ghost to be able to succeed with this kind of pen. I have an unused Langhao pen here. He rummaged through the mustard bag, and quickly took out a purple shimmering pen with special runes engraved on it, which fell heavily in his hand. It belongs to the category of medium-grade magical artifacts. Mu Chongxi probably gave someone something for the first time, and he scratched his head. I will find you a better one then. He is not Fushu, and this Langhao pen was bought from the black market. Yi Qiao was not pretentious, and immediately accepted it. Facts have proved that expensive things have their benefits. There was no stagnation when drawing the talisman. The complicated talisman patterns were engraved in it to form a golden spell seal. With the acceleration of the speed, the pen was quickly closed. Fu Cheng, all in one go. The light golden light slowly lights up, which means that the talisman has not been abolished. Yi Qiao's slightly suspended heart was relieved. However, in the next second, the talisman burst into dazzling light, and small black characters appeared under the corners of the talisman, like some kind of special symbol, and also like characters that only existed in ancient times. Yi Qiao dazedly rubbed the strange ancient characters under the corner of the talisman. What is this? The moment the golden light appeared, all the elders of the Changming sect looked up at the direction where the light fell. Heaven's blessing. Qin Fanfan stood up. Because he was protected by the Tao of Heaven, he couldn't feel where the golden light fell at all. He looked up at the sky, and his eyes flashed a little thoughtful. Is it the blessing that Mingxuan's child got, or Zhu Yu? Not only them, the commotion was so big that even the suzerains of the other sects were alarmed. Who is it? Heaven's blessing. It seems to be from Changmingzong. Mu Chongxi, or Zhou Xingyun. Ming Xuan. For a while, there were different opinions among the sects, and they all couldn't help but want to go to Changmingzong to find out. The person who caused the sensation is still in a daze. Heaven's blessing. Mu Chongxi repeated from his mouth. His expression gradually became serious. Are you really a talisman? He quickly changed his words, his eyes burning. It turns out that you can really practice both sword and talisman. Mu Chongxi had never seen a double cultivation in the true sense. He had only heard that the patriarch of their Changming sect was such an astonishingly talented person back then. I did one day. My little junior sister could do it too. Yi Qiao didn't know what this meant. So, fourth senior brother, what is a blessing from heaven? Is there any special use? She is more concerned about what benefits this thing can bring her than the blessings of heaven. Mu Chongxi was thoughtful. Special use. Representatives who have been blessed by the heavenly Tao have been recognized by the heavenly Tao. In the future, the price of the talismans you sell will be at least 5 times higher. Yi Qiao's eyes lit up. Is there such a good thing in the world? And as far as I know, none of the few self-proclaimed orthodox talisman cultivators of the Yu Qing sect have been blessed by the heavens. It won't be long before there should be news that someone in our sect has been blessed by the heavens. I'm afraid their faces will be black. The more Mu Chongxi spoke, the more complacent he became. The corners of his mouth rose, as if he had seen the scene of slapping them in the face in the future. He turned to look at his junior sister. By the way, Yi Qiao, what talisman did you draw? A ray talisman, defensive talisman, or an attack character? Under the expectant gaze of the fourth senior brother, Yi Qiao hesitated. Crawling talisman. What is this? Mu Chongxi felt a little uncomfortable when he heard the name. Is there any specific effect? Her voice faded. The people who are labeled will crawl on the ground like animals. He was silent. What should I say? After a while, the young man forcibly choked out a sentence. As expected of you, junior sister. Even being blessed by heaven is so unusual. Yi Qiao was also very sad while holding her talisman. If she had known that she would be blessed by heaven, she would have drawn a normal talisman. These few days, Yi Qiao was obsessed with her weird things, and she didn't have time to go to class, and Mu Chongxi also skipped class with her, which made the other two senior brothers always feel that they missed something. What are you two doing secretly behind our backs these days? Ming Xuan pushed open the door of the room with suspicious eyes. Yi Qiao put away her talisman, and when she saw someone, she waved enthusiastically, second senior brother, third senior brother, good evening. Zhu Yu smiled and nodded, and grabbed the fourth junior brother, good evening, junior sister, I'm here to find junior brother. Mu Chongxi, ha. He had an inexplicable sense of foreboding. Zhu Yu said, I have some pills that I have just practiced here, and I am short of people to try them. He said, putting his hands on Mu Chongxi's shoulders, and smiled slightly, come on, junior brother. Mu Chongxi. If you have something to say it well, third senior brother. He clearly remembered the last time that Zhu Yu poisoned several inner sects and was fined and imprisoned. Hearing this, Mu Chongxi's back felt cold and he ran away. No. Seeing this, Yi Qiao put away the talisman and followed her out. Heaven's blessing. Who made such a big commotion? Zhou Exingyun closed his eyes and fell into deep thought. Junior brother. Or. His new little junior sister. Qin Fanfan said, I don't know, I will call those bastards to ask about it later. Speaking of which, they have been skipping classes for several days, and they don't know what to do together all day. He was a little worried. Yi Qiao was the only female disciple personally handed down by the Zhongli, and they stayed together all day long. If any relationship developed, it would be over. Zhou Exingyun looked slightly positive. Did they skip class? Qin Fanfan got angry when he mentioned this, knocked on the table, and gritted his teeth. Not only did I skip class, but I also skipped class collectively under the leadership of that little bastard Yi Qiao. I'll go see them. In the end, Zhou Exingyun opened his mouth under the watchful eyes of Qin Fanfan. He felt that if he didn't take care of it, maybe his younger brothers and sisters could go to heaven. Ellipsis. Before Yi Qiao came, the three of Ming Xuan always liked to get together. Zhu Yu wanted to study his alchemy formula, and Ming Xuan, a weak and unable to take care of himself, would definitely not be able to use her to test the medicine, so he could only use the younger brother. Up. Mu Chongxi now has a toothache when he sees Zhu Yu, and when he is lucky with the breeze, he flies into the sky with his sword, ready to get rid of these two people. Zhu Yu looked like a villain with malicious intentions in a TV series, and smiled slightly, escape as much as you want, you can't escape. Ming Xuan also said pitifully, even if you shout your throat out today, no one will come to rescue you. Accept your fate, little brother. Yi Qiao stepped on the Xuanjian under her feet, chased after him and shouted, don't run. Fourth brother, we won't hurt you. But the three of them really looked like a pervert trying to force a lost teenager. There were two senior brothers standing on Yi Qiaojian, chasing after each other. Zhu Yu did not forget to shout, fourth senior brother, I will definitely not make you uncomfortable this time. The speed of the four is extremely fast. The places I have been to are like locusts passing through the territory, and not a single blade of grass grows. Mu Chongxi ran wildly in front, and the three of Ming Xuan chased after him. Zhou Exingyun, well, it was very lively. Anyway, after the junior sister came, Chang Mingzong didn't stop much. Even some people like Zhou Exingyun who are alive but no different from dead have been stimulated. The senior brother silently looked up at the fellow brothers and sisters flying around in the sky like birdmen. For someone like him who has always been unhappy with his expressions, the corners of his mouth couldn't help but twitched, and with a wave of his hand, the wind flew away. Go over and hit Yi Qiao's sword. Seeing this, Zhu Yu was the first to land on one knee in a chic way. Before he could put on a handsome posture, Mu Chongxi was also rushed by the aftermath of the strong wind and fell from the sword in embarrassment. Zhu Yu subconsciously went to catch him with sharp eyes and hands. In the end, the two looked at each other affectionately in the posture of a princess hugging. The scene is very eye-catching. What are you doing? A clear and cold voice sounded. Zhou Exingyun didn't move his sleeves, just looked at them calmly. Zhu Yu was usually afraid of this senior brother, and when he looked up, he saw the senior brother looking at him with a strange look. Zhu Yu tried his best to maintain his calm voice. Elder brother, listen to my explanation. He is really not a pervert. Yi Qiao and Ming Xuan's expressions also froze. Afraid of being beaten, she quickly stepped down on the Xuanjian and swallowed. Elder brother, listen to our sophistry. It's not it is. Zhou Exingyun calmed down for a moment. Perhaps, his younger brothers and sisters are really crazy. The four of them stood neatly together, no one dared to say anything. Zhou Exingyun slowly started to settle accounts. I heard that the four of you haven't attended class these days. Ming Xuan subconsciously defended. No. Who did you listen to? Someone must want to slander us who are pure and kind. Mu Chongxi hurriedly agreed. That's right. Zhou Exingyun smiled coldly, and the two became as quiet as chickens in an instant. It was the first time Yi Qiao knew what a senior brother's sense of oppression is. She keenly felt that if she didn't do anything today, maybe the four of them would form a group and be imprisoned. Her mind was running fast, and she hurriedly interrupted Zhou Exingyun before he was about to speak. Second senior brother, which one do you think will be the first case in the cultivation world this year? Although Ming Xuan didn't understand why she asked this question, he still answered honestly, for thousands of years, Changfengzong and Janjianzong have taken turns to replace the first sect. In terms of strength this year, the two sects are not even close up and down. So it's still unclear who will be the first case this year. Yi Qiao smiled, and looked at Zhou Exingyun. Then if senior brother works harder, can we become the number one in the cultivation world? The girl's eyes were shining brightly, as if Zhou Exingyun nodded, Yi Qiao would ask him to punch Wen Jianzong in the next second and step on Fengong. The veins on his forehead popped up, trying to keep calm, trying to tell himself to be calm and calm. No. The two words seemed to be squeezed out from between his teeth. Yi Qiao immediately changed her face. Brother, you have disappointed me so much. Zhou Exingyun. He choked, and couldn't connect to the little junior sister's brain circuit for a while. Mu Chongxi looked at the rare elder brother, and instantly understood what it means to be preemptive. Yes, elder brother, you can't even lead our Changming sect to become the first sect in the realm of cultivation. You are really disappointing us. Mingxuan also smiled when he saw this, and understood the intentions of the two. He followed casually, yes, we are really disappointed. Yi Qiao looked at the elder brother who was completely confused at the moment, took the lead to grab Mingxuan who was closest to her, and ran away. After the two quickly retreated, Mu Chongxi also came to his senses. He grabbed Zhu Yu who was half-paced, and the four of them fled in an instant. After Zhou Exingyun came to his senses, he pondered. This kind of skillful and shameless escape method, did you learn it badly from your junior sister? Chevron underscore. Unfilial son, how do you talk to your father? The forbidden area can be said to be the place with the strongest aura besides the main peak, so it can not only be used to punish those who made mistakes, but also help in cultivation. The four people who were once again trapped in the forbidden area wanted to scratch the wall depressedly. Zhu Yu and Mingxuan are also fine. Their personalities can be calmed down. Fushu and Danshu are rare in the cultivation world. They naturally have to work harder to live up to the expectations of the sect, but Yi Qiao and Mu Chongxi, the two sword cultivators, couldn't bear the loneliness. She sat cross-legged on the ground. The elders shouldn't be just staring at us every day, right? Can we sneak out? Mingxuan was grabbed by Yi Qiao's sleeve. He glanced at her, yes. But if you want to hide it from the elders, you have to use a teleportation talisman to go out. Yi Qiao rolled her eyes and hit the snake with the stick. Does the senior brother have a teleportation talisman? Mingxuan raised his chin. Of course. My Ming family is the leading talisman cultivator family in the cultivation world. Yi Qiao applauded. Second senior brother is so amazing tilde. Mingxuan looked at Yi Qiao adoringly. He cleared his throat. It was very beneficial, and he didn't want to take out the only teleportation talisman and throw it to her. I only have these two. You can use it according to the situation. Yi Qiao's eyes lit up. She took it immediately, and praised happily. I knew that the second senior brother is the best. Mingxuan raised his eyebrows proudly. Of course. But I always feel that the younger sister's words are very familiar. Zhu Yu, who was meditating on the side, opened his eyes, probably also knowing that these two juniors are the kind of people who fear the world will not be chaotic, and it may be more difficult for them to settle down than the destruction of the cultivation world. He sighed, and said worriedly, don't cause trouble if the two of you go out. If the situation is not right, tear up the talisman and run away. If you come across any opportunity, grab it if you can. If you can't beat it, don't be greedy. In the future, there will be a lot of secrets to enter in the big competition. At that time, the five of us will have a higher safety factor. We can help you get what you want. Zhu Yu murmured and exhorted for a long time. Yi Qiao nodded like a chicken pecking rice, and said with a smile, don't worry, third senior brother, we are all honest people, and we will definitely not cause trouble this time when we go down the mountain. Oh, that's right. Yi Qiao lowered her head and took out the quenching spirit pill from the mustard bag, which was left over from her previous refinement. This spirit pill can help you absorb it faster. Since the two senior brothers intend to cultivate, she must help if she can. Quenling pill can help people quickly purify the aura with impurities in the body, and eating one when absorbing aura has an excellent effect. Mingxuan's face turned green on the spot when he smelled the familiar smell of snail noodles. After a few months, he still couldn't forget the taste of this elixir. Yi Qiao didn't know the resistance of the senior brothers to the taste of her elixir. After she put down the quenching elixir in a hurry, she looked at Mu Chongxi, tore up the teleportation talisman without hesitation, and left the forbidden area. After being tormented by Yi Qiao last time, Zhu Yu was mentally prepared this time. He shook the bottle and smelled it carefully. The aura is very strong, so is it possible that junior sister really knows how to make alchemy? When Yi Qiao gave him food, Zhu Yu only thought she was joking, and the taste was too shocking, so he vomited after taking a bite. How could the aura inside be so pure? Mingxuan shuddered silently when he heard the words. Zhu Yu himself had an obsessive attitude towards pills, and Yi Qiao was not too normal. Refining a pill was like making a biochemical weapon. If these two people get together to make alchemy together in the future, will he and Mu Chongxi be able to live in the future? Ah, maybe this elixir was bought from the Clear Water sect. Mingxuan said dryly, I heard from Master that the Bishui sect's personal biography has not come down recently. The Great Secret Realm will be opened in a few months. Yes, it may be that the younger sister and the younger brother just happened to meet when they went down the mountain, and they bought a few pills and came back. Zhu Yu blinked, is that so? Mingxuan nodded frantically. Yes, people who practice both ways can be counted on one finger in our comprehension world. Junior sister is still a child. Zhu Yu thought about it and thought it was right. He felt a little regretful, and thought that he could study Danfang with his junior sister in the future. After all, being alone is really boring. Ellipsis. Yiki elixir store called Sijitang in Yunjung City, and the shopkeeper is now talking about selling elixirs to two wealthy female cultivators. Fairy, don't look at it as ugly, but it has a beautiful heart. The other party's beautiful eyes widened, she folded her arms, and smiled angrily. Are you sure? This thing is spiritual beauty. Really, this fairy, you can't judge people by their appearance, and the same is true for pills. The shopkeeper earnestly said that there are so many pill repairers looking for him to cooperate these days, and he actually didn't like these weird-looking pills at first. But who made the price cheaper than other Danshu prices? The key point is that apart from the ugly appearance, it is no worse than those refined by Da Zongman. I'm not bragging, this elixir is actually no worse than that of Bishuazong. Pill repairers looking for him to cooperate these days, and he actually didn't like these weird-looking pills at first. But who made the price cheaper than other Danshu prices? The key point is that apart from the ugly appearance, it is no worse than those refined by Da Zongman. I'm not bragging, this elixir is actually no worse than that of Bishuazong. The two who had no interest in such ugly things paused slightly. It's no worse than the green water sect. The girl laughed out loud on the spot. Do you know what you're talking about? Is it true that the elixir of the jade water sect can be compared to someone who is unscrupulous? As soon as she opened her mouth, she was full of cynicism, but the woman next to her stopped her, and said softly in disapproval, Meow Meow, be careful. The girl named Meow Meow pouted, and muttered unconvinced, that's what it is. So ugly. The woman frowned slightly, poured out a yellow-brown pill, crushed it, and said, look. The aura inside is very strong. The quality is not bad, but why is the shape so strange? Who is this god who can practice alchemy so ugly? And the price is still terribly low. Aren't you afraid that the market price of the elixir will be involuntary? As the sect with the most alchemy, this is a scene they absolutely don't want to see. Meow Meow felt the aura pervading the air, her dissatisfied voice gradually subsided, and her eyes opened slightly. What's the matter with this alchemist? Does he not know the price of the elixir or something? Our elixir only needs 10 middle-grade spirit stones. Crazy. Maybe it's because the shape is too ugly, and the price is too high to sell. The woman was thoughtful. After all, the cost of alchemy is actually very low, and the high cost is the labor cost. Or maybe the other party doesn't want to make money, but just wants to benefit casual cultivators. Meow Meow said softly, I heard from Master that the Great Secret Realm opened earlier this year. There are a lot of cultivators gathered here recently. The woman nodded in agreement. Of course there are such hidden casual cultivators, maybe we have come across them. Ellipsis. After tearing up the talisman, the location where it landed was in the center of Yunjung City. The people who came and went were casual cultivators passing by. Yi Qiao heaved a sigh of relief. To some strange place. It would be so scary if it was teleported into the belly of a monster, or someone's grave. Mu Chongxi noticed the mysterious sword hanging on Yi Qiao's waist, and couldn't help persuading, little sister, you should go to the sword cave and choose a natal sword. The sword cave is at Janjianzong's place. When the big competition comes, as long as you win the top 10 sword repair rankings, you will be eligible to enter Janjianzong's Jiansao. They even have ancient spirit swords there. Yi Qiao, very curly. Forget it, my Xuanjian is pretty good. She said silently, if it breaks, you can get a new one, the point is that you don't need to be in the top 10. Mu Chongxi, lie down. Anyway, it is impossible for anyone to make Yi Qiao take the initiative to work hard. As the saying goes, where there are people, there are rivers and lakes, and the place to eat is always the best source of news, so the duo decisively decided to eat first. The boxes upstairs were already full, leaving only a few empty tables downstairs. Yi Qiao ordered 2 bowls of noodles, and did not forget to kick Mu Chongxi to remind him, pay when the time comes. Mu Chongxi was very straightforward, no problem. While waiting, a group of people walked in from outside. Yi Qiao noticed that the costumes of the other party were uniform, and they all had swords around their waists, like disciples of a certain sect. The leading man's face was very long, like a horse's face. He looked around and suddenly called out, hey, isn't this from Changmingzong? Yi Qiao froze for a moment, almost thinking she was talking about herself and Mu Chongxi. As a result, 2 people at the other table stood up. The other party was not wearing a disciple's attire, and Yi Qiao would have never known that these 2 were also members of the Changming sect if it hadn't been for the horse face to speak out. Mu Chongxi rubbed his chin. If you read correctly, you should ask the inner sect of Janzong. Ask Janzong. Yi Qiao blinked. It is rumored that this year is expected to become the first sword-asking school. Mu Chongxi nodded, and all the eyes of the people around were focused on the few people not far away. The horse-faced man seemed to have some grievances with the other 2 Changming sect disciples, and the atmosphere became tense. The Changming sect disciple raised his voice, Song Jian, don't go too far. This is Cloud City, it is forbidden to draw swords. The horse-faced man named Song Jian laughed, what's the hurry? I haven't done anything yet. Didn't I say it before? You Changmingzong people are a bunch of rubbish to me. When you see us in the future, take a detour, do you understand? He gently patted the other person's face with one hand, which was extremely insulting. Seeing that the disciple of Changmingzong's eyes turned red, Song Jian smiled on. Mu Chongxi gritted his teeth. Resisting the urge to fight, he took a deep breath. Yunjung City had regulations prohibiting fighting and drawing swords. He could only calm down desperately. Yi Qiao picked up the clear soup noodles in front of her eyes, lowered her eyes, and said in an unclear tone, "Fourth senior brother, are all Janzong so crazy?" It was the first time she saw such an arrogant person. Mu Chongxi hummed, with a disgusted tone, "Their sect is the #1 sect in the cultivation world, and they have looked down on us for a long time. Moreover, our sect has enmity with them, and we will have conflicts every time we go out and meet them. In the last 100-year competition, Swordsmanship Sect was first, Yuqing Sect was second, Changfeng Sect was third, and Bishui Sect was fourth. We are fifth. Most of the Bishui Sect's females and Danshu are not good at fighting, so the fourth place is not low. What's more, Bishuazong is rich and has many Danshu. No one wants to offend them, otherwise they will be included in the blacklist of the Bishui Sect, and there will be nowhere to ask for help after being injured. Yi Qiao, in other words, our Changming Sect is the most popular. Mu Chongxi, that's the meaning. But is this little junior sister so straightforward? The dispute over there was still going on. Yi Qiao drank a few mouthfuls of noodles as if nothing had happened, then picked up the bowl and asked, "Fourth senior brother, are you full?" Clear soup noodles are not really tasty. Mu Chongxi nodded, not understanding why she asked this. "What's wrong, little junior sister?" As soon as he finished speaking, he saw Yi Qiao walking straight in front of Song Jian. "You are Song Jian." She smiled slightly. Song Jian was suddenly interrupted, turned his head and said fiercely, "What are you doing?" She put the bowl on his face with her backhand. "Unfilial son, why are you talking to your father?" The whole movement was done in one go. Without any hesitation, he turned his head and shouted at Mu Chongxi, "Run." The duo had already been chased out of experience in Changmingzong. They ran like rabbits, and disappeared after a while. Only Song Jinfeng was left in a mess, with noodle soup dripping from his chin, and a few unfinished noodles hanging on his head, looking embarrassed and ridiculous. Yi Qiao got lucky by stepping on the breeze without looking back. She wasn't worried that the other party would catch up, and only those with the highest cultivation in the inner sect could build the foundation, and Mu Chongxi could solve it by himself. What's more, Yunzhong City does not allow fighting. Recalling the other party's bewildered state, Yi Qiao's eyebrows and eyes were crooked with a smile, and her mood improved a lot. From the moment he walked in, "I wanted to do this." Little junior sister, Mu Chongxi chased after her, stepped on the Chaoshi sword, gave her a thumbs up by the way, and took a deep breath. "You really are a heifer giving birth." He slowly spit out 4 words. "It's awesome." Chevron _ left previous home index next. I can't finish the meal, but fortunately, the senior brother Mu Chongxi is quite reliable, and I found out in advance that there are visions of monsters restless in the forest of monsters. Generally speaking, the restlessness of monsters must be accompanied by some secret treasures in the world. The two immediately chose to go to the monster forest to have a look. Yi Qiao doesn't remember whether the original book mentioned any opportunities in the monster beast forest. After all, the big opportunities belong to the heroine, and the absence of Yunqiu can only prove that they are not good things. However, this did not prevent the two brothers and sisters who couldn't bear the loneliness from running to join in the fun. In fact, it was not just the two of them who thought there was a big chance. Many casual cultivators also came. In the realm of comprehension, casual cultivators belong to a group of people who have no sect and fight alone. They have no background and no master, which means that there is no way to die outside. People control usually belong to the category of people who are best to be bullied. Knowing that there was no big chance, Yi Qiao took a leisurely look at the roadside scenery with her senior brother from time to time. There was basically no danger in the periphery of the monster forest, and it became quieter as you walked in. From time to time, a few low cultivation monsters passed by, and she took advantage of the situation to deal with them together. With the first experience, Yi Qiao became much more comfortable killing monsters. It doesn't feel too difficult. Mu Chongxi was somewhat lacking in interest. Sword repairers are basically militants, except of course, Yi Qiao. She fights when she can, and runs away if she can't. Except for the eldest brother of Chang Mingzong, either his cultivation base is lower than him, or he is a group of weak craftsmen who can't take care of themselves, Danshu Fushu, and there is no one who can fight him. Mu Chongxi deeply feels that the life of a master is as lonely as snow. Mo Yue walked slowly for half an hour, and gradually reached the most central position, when he suddenly heard a howling sound like a donkey's braying. Yi Qiao watched a young man stumbling forward in panic, followed by a big bird. Yes, big bird. About 3 feet long, the fiery red feathers are somewhat similar to a phoenix. The golden pupils are cold and exude the cruel hunting gaze of a ferocious beast. Although the boy was in a bit of a panic, he didn't seem to have suffered any injuries, and obviously he had some skills in it. The boy's eyes lit up when he saw the person, but when he found that the two men were cultivated, the light in his eyes went out again, and he shouted, "Run, brothers. This thing can cut people." Yi Qiao didn't expect him to be quite warm-hearted. "I lost one of the shoes I was chasing, and I didn't forget to remind others." When the red bird found 2 more prey, it became visibly excited, let out a piercing cry, bent over and rushed towards the 2 of them. Mu Chongxi drew his sword first, with a cold light and a sense of coldness, collided with the sharp beak of the red bird, and the piercing sound of the collision sounded. His arm was numb for a moment, and he took half a step back, his expression slightly condensed. Golden core middle stage. The difference between one level and the other in the realm of comprehension is a world of difference. Yi Qiao was also slightly surprised. Mu Chongxi is only at the early stage of golden core. It is no exaggeration to say that one mid-stage golden elixir can fight 2 early-stage golden elixir. Zhu Shi found out that
Arkadaşlar herkese yeniden bir Mobile Legends videosundan daha selamlar ve bu videoda yine bir yeni karakter
Teleportation talisman and escape, but if they don't help now, the boy will be pierced by that bird. In the blink of an eye, Yi Qiao picked up a stone and threw it viciously at its head without thinking about it. She was so strong that Xiniao's head was smashed away for a moment, and she was instantly irritated. The lower the realm, the lower the IQ. With the cultivation base of the golden core, the IQ is about the same as that of a 7 or 8-year-old child. Besides, the birds are irritable and explosive. As she expected, the stone just now successfully angered the red bird. It turned around and rushed towards Yi Qiao. Yi Qiao didn't fight it either, and ran away. A race between Juji and Jindan, almost without thinking about the outcome. Be careful, Duan Hengdao reminded him sharply as he was about to be overtaken. Mu Chongxi reacted the fastest. He quickly drew his sword and slashed at the bait. He was badly damaged, and cut off half of the red bird's long, flowing feather with a single sword chi. Teenager, how can you cut someone's hair? He stared blankly at Qi Niao, angrily turning around and chasing Mu Chongxi. After only a few steps, Yi Qiao threw a stone at it from behind. Qi Niao turned around to chase Yi Qiao again, and Mu Chongxi drew his sword to attack it again. The two went back and forth, and the low-intelligence Xiniao was played around. It cracked. These two despicable human beings. The young man was dumbfounded, and gradually fell into doubts about his life. Is this still possible? Taking advantage of the two holding Qi Niao, the boy below saw the right moment and threw the golden rope in Yi Qiao's direction, raising his voice. Brother, continue. Yi Qiao caught the bundle of golden thin ropes, and she knew how to use them almost as soon as she got them. This was probably the legendary expensive rope for binding demons. Without hesitation, she quickly picked up the rope and threw it at the red bird. Passed. It nodded its head angrily, subconsciously stretched its neck and bit the rope. Yi Qiao grinned slightly at the corner of his mouth, stretched out his hand and tugged. Akadori was even more sure that the human wanted to get back the rope, so it bit even tighter. Yi Qiao was overjoyed in her heart, and was worried that she didn't know how to trap a mid-gold core monster, but she didn't expect it to throw itself into the trap. She stretched out her hand and quickly wrapped the rope around its slender beak, and the rope tightened tightly almost the moment it was tied to something. It was too late when Chidori realized that his mouth was tied. It wanted to make a shrill sound angrily, but because its mouth was tied, it could only jump wildly on the spot, falling into impotent and furious anger. Basically, if this kind of monster is crippled, it will also be crippled. Seeing that the battle situation had stabilized, the young man tried his best to control his trembling legs and put on an air of a calm master. Yi Qiao glanced at him. Straighten your legs before talking. Juvenile. He looked at his trembling legs in embarrassment, and said stiffly, I'm just a weapon repairer. Should fighting be your sword repairer's job? I used to be protected in Zhongli. Even if I go out, there are a group of people protecting me. He had just babbled a lot, but when he turned his head, he found that the two had squatted down and looked at Chidiao curiously. Ah, this is the legendary red bird. Mu Chongxi kicked it curiously. What he got was the glaring look of Chidori Mung Bean's big eyes. Yi Qiao stretched out her hand to grab its feathers, and said with satisfaction, I heard that its hair can be used as a defensive magic weapon. Most organ repairs will use this material when making defensive robes. How do you know? Yi Qiao, I read it from the book. Facts have proved that reading more books is still useful. Mu Chongxi's eyes lit up immediately. Then the person we sold to Cheng Fengong should be worth a lot of money, right? Yi Qiao grabbed the big bird that was struggling wildly, thought for a while, and shook her head. I won't sell it yet. We can bald it first, and we can pluck it after its feathers grow. This is called sustainable development. We can't just sit on the empty mountain and learn to look at things from the perspective of development. Mu Chongxi gave her a thumbs up. Junior sister, you deserve it. Hi. Chidori, our human. The boy was taken aback when he heard that. Why didn't he think of it? Duan Hengdao, as a personal heir of the Changfeng clan, has always used whatever he catches. He really never thought about raising monsters, waiting for their feathers and horns to grow before continuing to harvest them. It turns out that it can also be used for continuous development. Then let's tie it first. Having said that, how to bring this red bird back to the sect is still a problem, and the rope is not theirs, but the little brother's. The young man was stunned when he saw this, and said generously, then I will give you the demon binding rope. I don't lack magic weapons. He met the eyes of the two men, and smiled a little shyly. I'm a weapon repairer, and I came to the monster forest to find materials for refining weapons. Sort of thing. Generally speaking, monsters of Xiniao's level will only appear in the innermost circle. He scratched the back of his head and couldn't figure it out. Today is strange, it will run out. In fact, Mu Chongxi and the two of them can escape without making a move, but they just use up some spiritual weapons. Anyway, the young man is very grateful to these two people. Did you go to investigate? Yi Qiao nodded. Seeing this, he asked, are you together? My name is Duan Hengdao. Okay. Yi Qiao immediately smiled at him friendlily. My name is Yi Qiao. Mu Chongxi. So the temporary team of 3 was formed like this. We can choose a name. Mu Chongxi rubbed his chin. It's the first time to form a team with someone. Or call it, the 3 Musketeers. Yi Qiao, unable to complain. Duan Hengdao, this name. Just when Yi Qiao thought he was about to say something, the young man's eyes lit up, and he said excitedly, this name is good. Yi Qiao, okay. The 3 Musketeers are the 3 Musketeers. If nothing else, their plastic team will be disbanded soon. The number of demonic beasts in the inner circle has decreased visibly with the naked eye, and there is no danger along the way. It is estimated that many monks are guarding the inner gate, wanting to see if there are any abnormalities in the demonic beast forest disturbed by secret treasures. When the three of them arrived, the situation was still a little fierce. So far, the scene has been divided into two groups. One group is led by a Jindan casual cultivator, and the other group. Song Hansheng. Isn't this fucking old acquaintance? Well, it's Yue Kingzong's herd of cattle and horses. Yi horses. Yi Qiao didn't bother to think about the other party's name. Let's call them the cattle and horse army for now. It has to be said that Yi Qiao has a way of hurting people. Song Hansheng was impatiently confronting the group of filthy casual cultivators, but when he suddenly heard Yi Qiao's voice, his expression became sinister, and he looked in Yi Qiao's direction with a very cold expression. He came here to check the situation under the order of his master. Not surprisingly, the change in the monster beast forest was due to a spiritual weapon appearing in the world. But the spiritual weapon is definitely accompanied by the guardian of the big monster above the golden core. Song Hansheng immediately chose to use a sinister method, and set up an array to trap these loose cultivators and the big monster together, planning to use them as bait to restrain the monster, while he led his brothers and sisters to get the spiritual weapon. This was originally a foolproof method, but people from Changmingzong would have come here. Yi Qiao. Song Hansheng squinted his eyes. Are you here to die together? It just so happens. He smiled slightly. I still need you bastards to pave the way. It's good to have a few more, so I can help myself restrain the monsters for a while. As for whether they will die, what does that matter to him? In the world of comprehension, the weak prey on the strong. Duan Hengdao trembled, leaned closer to Yi Qiao's ear, and whispered, they are the direct descendants of Yue Kingzong. How did you know him? As far as Duan Hengdao knew, Song Hansheng was extremely cautious. I cheated him before. Many casual cultivators were injured, and many chose not to go inside. Anyone with a discerning eye could see that the group of disciples of Yue Kingzong used them as bait to pave the way. But maybe the movement from the fighting sound was too loud. The ground vibrated slightly, and then a roar came, and a pitch-black monster rushed out with its hooves. The powerful coercion will cause many people to feel uncomfortable. Mu Chongxi frowned. Jindan late stage. Crazy. A monster in the late Jindan stage. This is not even the most inside. When Song Hansheng saw the monster, his eyes froze, and he immediately slapped the talisman in his hand towards the rhinoceros without hesitation. Obviously, he chose to anger the monster to stop Yi Qiao and the others. This time, he will decide on the spirit weapon. Song Hansheng is a full-fledged old ghost. He posted a magic talisman. Generally speaking, the higher the cultivation level, the higher the IQ. This kind of talisman can make those monsters with IQ fall into a state of insanity, and start attacking without any difference. It's the closest person. After posting, he set up a defensive formation and chose to retreat. Yi Qiao and the others became the first to be targeted by monsters. She couldn't dodge in time and was hit by the long barbed tail of the rhinoceros and flung to the ground. Sharp pierced into the meat from the thorn, Yi Qiao turned over and stood up. The next second his vision went dark, and he saw the rhinoceros opened its huge mouth and swallowed it towards her. Mu Chongxi tried to rush in and grab her, but the two of them fell in together. Damn it. It's as big as a hippopotamus mouth. Unfortunately this thing doesn't chew when it eats, otherwise the two of them might be cold the moment they fall. Yi Qiao doesn't know what it's like to fall into the belly of a whale, but it's absolutely uncomfortable to fall into the belly of a monster. Throw a dog and eat shit. After falling down, Mu Chongxi was vomited by the smell. He suddenly felt it. Junior sister's feces-like pill is not so unpalatable. Sure enough, happiness is out of comparison. Mu Chongxi pinched her nose, and said in a low voice, that monster is at least in the late Jindan stage. Aren't the big monsters in the late Jindan period only appearing in the great secret realm or in the innermost circle? Why are they here? The two looked at each other in their stomachs. Just when we were all overwhelmed by the situation, another person came down from the sky. She looked up and saw that it was Duan Hengdao and those two idiots. Fine. Another Expendables member comes in. Who do you think will fall in next? Anyway. Yi Qiao clasped his hands together, with a sincere expression on his face. I hope it's Song Hansheng. Mu Chongxi imitated her appearance, clasped his hands together, and also began to curse. I hope there is nothing wrong with you. Duan Hengdao. These two are vicious. But to be honest, he also hoped it was Song Hansheng. Perhaps the three of them had too strong a sense of faith. When they heard the movement a few minutes later, Yi Qiao and the others quickly moved away, just watching Song Hansheng face to mouth with the monster's belly when he fell down. Song Hansheng was distorted by the stinky face for a moment, his complexion was pale, and he looked like he was dying. The key point is that he hasn't slowed down yet. When he looked up, he saw the damned Yi Qiao, and waved him friendly, hi. Song Hansheng, damn it. Chevron _ left previous home _ right. So I chose to defeat magic with physics. Hi. Seeing this, Mu Chongxi stretched his neck and waved to him. Seeing how courageous the two were, Duan Hengdao mustered up his courage and said, hi, to Song Han. Song Hansheng, grass. His face was pale, and he almost vomited bile from the stench. As a result, the three of them were more irritating than the other, and they even greeted each other. Yi Qiao. Song Han gritted his teeth and spit out these two words, wishing to cut this man into pieces. Who are you scaring? Yi Qiao is not afraid of him right now. You can't beat my senior brother outside, and you are still in the stomach of a monster, so you are still arrogant. She pointed to the two people around her. Aren't you unable to see the situation clearly? You can only hold back when the three of us give you a punch. What would happen if 3 hit 1? Song Hansheng didn't know whether he was scared or disgusted, so he honestly kept silent. At present, there is no danger, but it is only because of the support of cultivation base, otherwise, the corrosion of stomach acid is enough for them to eat a pot. If they don't hurry up and go out, they may die in the abdomen of this monster within a day up. Has your spiritual energy been sealed? Mu Chongxi found that he couldn't use his spiritual power. He tried to stimulate it, but found that his spiritual power was also imprisoned by something, and he couldn't use it at all. Hearing this, the three of them also tentatively stimulated the aura in the dantian, only to find that the aura stored in it in the past turned out to be like a stagnant pool of stagnant water. What happened? Duan Hengdao was shocked. Song Hansheng's face was ugly, and his expression was dark. There is something in the belly of this monster that seals our spiritual power. Otherwise, how could this happen for no reason? Let's search separately and find that thing. The four decisively dispersed to find the culprit who sealed their aura. Thinking of the riot of monsters and the news that there was a spiritual weapon in the world, the spiritual weapon could not be ruled out. Right in the belly of the monster. Thinking of this, Song Hansheng began to search even more eagerly, but they couldn't let them succeed. The belly of the monster was too big, and the remains of the monks and monsters swallowed by it were everywhere, and some of them were not fully digested. The scene once made the faces of a few people who had never been in contact with these things extremely ugly. Yi Qiao was better. After all, she was not a real 15-year-old girl. After searching around, she couldn't find anything special. After about half an hour, there was no spiritual power to protect her body. Several people gradually felt it. Obvious discomfort. Monster beasts digest very quickly, and if the delay continues, everyone has no doubt that they will have a share of the wreckage tomorrow morning. Song Hansheng became agitated visibly with the naked eye. Are we just going to sit and wait for death? You die if you want to die, I can't be with you. His voice was indifferent. I'm the heir of the Song family, the chief disciple of Yu Qingzong, and you. He paused for a while, and sneered, it's just a group of folks, and some of the talents have been accepted as personal inheritance. It's true that Mu Chongxi's talent is excellent, but he is only from the folk. As the direct heir of the 8 great families, Song Hansheng looks down on people from the folk the most. He had also heard about Duan Hengdao, but it was an instrument repairer from a small family, and because it was a rare top-grade fire spirit root, he was exceptionally accepted as a personal heir. As for Yi Qiao, he never looked at each other directly from the beginning to the end. Duan Hengdao, although, honorable heir, it's not a question of whether we want to die now. If we don't find a way to get out by then, none of us will be able to get out alive. Yi Qiao got annoyed when she heard Song Qing'an pretending to be aggressive, and the corner of her mouth twitched. You are right. You will all die when you think about it. I forgive everyone. Her voice was sincere as hell. Song Hansheng fell into silence. He didn't know whether he had learned a lesson or what, but when he found out that Yi Qiao couldn't say it, he was so angry that he shut up. Yi Qiao searched around again. Song Hansheng didn't know if she gave up struggling or was tired. Anyway, she didn't get involved in the whole process. She was leisurely and leisurely, not in the slightest sense of anxiety, not because she wanted to die, but because she had a way to get out. Now it is purely because she feels that there is something here that attracts her to keep approaching, which is too strange. Even in this special situation in the realm of comprehension, it was either by chance or definitely not a good thing. Yi Qiao didn't feel the slightest bit of fear, and even tried her best to find out that thing. Opportunity and danger were accompanied by it. Coincidentally, she was not afraid of any danger. The closer the distance, Yi Qiao found that her steps became more uncontrollable, and she approached a place step by step until she saw the whole picture of the opponent. It was a pitch-black stick. Somehow it was inserted into the flesh and blood of a monster, and it just stood there, with a kind of magical power that people couldn't help approaching. Yi Qiao thought distractedly, no wonder the monster ran away, its flesh was pierced by a black stick, who would run away if it didn't hurt. Without hesitation, she reached out and picked it up. What's rare is that it is easy to pull it off, and it feels cool and heavy to the touch. Other than that, it doesn't seem to have any unique features. Yi Qiao closed her eyes thoughtfully. So could it be the culprit for the riot in the monster beast forest? Just as she was soaring into the sky, Mu Chongxi noticed that the junior sister hadn't moved for a long time, and hesitantly pushed her lightly. Yi Qiao. What? She came back to her senses. Brother. As a qualified instrument repairer, Duan Hengdao immediately noticed the extra thing in her hand. Hey, Yi Qiao, what are you holding in your hand? Yi Qiao came back to her senses and shook slightly. Oh, this is the magic weapon I just found. Duan Hengdao. Ah, is it so casual? Just pick up a stick and use it as a magic weapon. Yi Qiao didn't think there was anything wrong. She had already begun to think about the name of the stick with Mu Chongxi with great interest. As the saying goes, a gentleman doesn't take what others like. Yi Qiao pondered for a long time, then raised the stick in her hand. It's called Duaoju. After speaking, she pinned it on her waist casually. Duan Hengdao. Is there any connection between this name and a gentleman who does not take advantage of others? He didn't understand, and was shocked. There should be a limit to nonsense. Although Mu Chongxi didn't understand the meaning of the name, his expression was quite indescribable. Isn't that a good name? Junior sister. What are the sword masters of Chaoshi sword and Mingyu sword, but what is Yi Qiao's name? The master of the sword of seizing bamboo shoots. Does this sound plausible? It's embarrassing to shout out. Oh no, that's not even a sword. It's a fucking stick. Seeing that the three of them were still chatting, Song Han turned around anxiously. His face was pale and he was furious. Are you crazy? You are not in a hurry at all. We have to escape from here, or it may turn into a pool of blood the next day. They're still in the mood to chat. Are they a tourist resort in the belly of a monster? Mu Chongshi came back to his senses, and shrugged without apology, but you can't use spiritual power here, how can you get out of the monster's stomach? Are they supposed to dig by hand? The skin is so thick, how could it be possible to dig it open? Duan Hengdao was also a little at a loss. Do you use a sword to cut it open bit by bit? It will take several days. We will have turned into blood by then. Song Hansheng sneered beside him. Yi Qiao's expression was the calmest among the group of people throughout the whole process. She was in good spirits and showed no signs of anxiety. This made Song Hansheng wonder if she knew how to get out. Do you know something? Song Hansheng immediately asked unceremoniously, wanting her to rescue him quickly. Yi Qiao smiled slightly, yes. Song Han fell back angrily. He became more and more convinced that Yi Qiao had a solution. Song Hansheng was not a fool, and he immediately understood that this woman wanted to negotiate terms with him. What do you want? Song Han asked anxiously, Lingxi, or something else. He warned her in advance, it is impossible for us to give you the talisman of Yue Qingzong. Mu Chongshi rolled his eyes, disdainful, who cares about your talismans? His little junior sister is a person who has been blessed by the heavens, is there a lack of talismans? Mu Chongshi was quite scared at first, but Yi Qiao was so calm, he suddenly remembered the weird things that his junior sister made before, maybe, the junior sister really has a way, so he calmed down. But Duan Hengdao didn't trust a few people, but he felt that it was useless to be anxious, so he simply calmed down together. This made Song Hansheng even more anxious. He thought that everyone knew the way out tacitly, but he didn't tell himself. Yi Qiao, I don't want talismans. Then what do you want? Yi Qiao, 10,000 high-grade spirit stones, as well as your Yuqing sect inner sect's mental method and talisman book. The talismans of each sect are different. The talisman book of Changmingzong is different from that of Yuqingzong. The talismans of Changmingzong are mainly offensive, while the Yuqingzong is mainly defensive. Qiao Wansheng breathed a sigh of relief, and immediately couldn't help laughing at her stupidity from the bottom of his heart. Want the talisman book of Yue Qingzong's inner sect? Want to take it back to Ming Shuangxiu? Ha, does she know that a person who learns a talisman at the beginning is doomed to continue in that direction, and learning talismans from other sects will only make him go crazy? However, Song Hansheng would not be kind enough to remind her. Dang even agreed, yes, I can give it to you now. But you have to rescue me. Song Hansheng was a neat person. He counted the spirit stones in the mustard bag and threw them to Yi Qiao, and threw the mental method along the way. Even if he was from a big family like him, the loss of top-grade spirit stones was not heartbroken. Afraid of being seen to be bleeding from his heart, he could only look gloomy and look at Yi Qiao sinisterly. Hurry up. Okay. The feeling of getting rich overnight is not unpleasant. Yi Qiao saw the neatly arranged spirit stones in the mustard seed bag, and there was only one sentence in his heart. Fu Shuzhen is rich. But wait for a while. Yi Qiao said, I'll count to see if it's enough. Song Hansheng. His face turned green. Is this person fucking poisonous? Yuzai actually started counting spirit stones. Yi Qiao scanned roughly with her spiritual sense, and after confirming that there were no emissions, she smiled at Song Hansheng in a good mood, thank you. Song Hansheng looked at her expressionlessly, and began to think in his heart how to kill this nasty guy when he went out. I don't know why, although this person is very hateful, when she said that she could save them, Song Hansheng really misunderstood. She touched the bomb in her sleeve, and raised her voice sharply towards several people, get out of the way. What will Yi Qiao do when faced with the situation where her spiritual power cannot be used? Of course, choosing to defeat magic with physics. Chevron